Alright, so this is either true dedication or sheer idiocy. It is 2:30 in the morning and I am at Walmart buying Dunstan Chestnut Trees. Yeah, so it's about 4 pallets worth behind me. You can see them over there. About 4 pallets worth that I knew were going to be delivered right around Memorial Day week. So I was on my way to camp and thought, well, I'm on my way past. I called this afternoon and they still didn't have any. So I thought, well, I'll stop anyway, and sure enough, here they are. So let's get a dozen of these things loaded and get up to camp before daybreak for the last day of Spring Gobbler. Well, I've come to the conclusion that buying chestnut trees at now 3:30 in the morning at Walmart is nuts. No pun intended. You're going to be treed in for a little bit. Well, that's a load. I gotta tell you, the last day of the 50th anniversary of Spring Gobbler season in PA was the second best time I've ever had in the turkey woods. Hands down, May 2nd, 1992 though, will never be beat. My dad and I harvested our first gobblers that morning at an unbelievable 5 and 7 yards away. These are the only 2 pictures I have from that day. Now, some of us are a little older now, and the apple tree is starting to show her age too, but I'll never forget that hunt. So back to today. I heard the first gobble a couple of 100 yards away at 5:45 in the morning and quickly cut the distance in half before setting up a pair of decoys. I called 3 or 4 times and then shut her down because he sounded off every couple of minutes over the course of the next hour, but I simply could not pull him any closer than 100 yards. Long story short, and I do mean long, because this hunt went on for 2.5 hours and he simply would not budge. I did though have 2 different hens come in from behind me at different times to within 15 yards, singing a beautiful little ditty that was more than enough for the old Tom to finally give in and close the remaining yardage that kept him hung up at my 10. At one point, when one of them was at my 4, I heard something coming through the woods directly behind me. It jumped onto the backside of the tree that I was leaning against, scurried around, and jumped on my back, up onto my right shoulder, and there it sat. With the hen beside me, I couldn't move, and all I kept thinking to myself was, just please don't run across my face mask. But then the chipmunk ran down my right arm and on his way. Unfortunately, I never turned the camera off from the onset of the hunt this morning, and the battery died on me. The two hens then eventually disappeared into the woods where the gobbler was, and I thought it was game over because the woods then went completely silent for the next half an hour. But shortly after 8 a.m., all of a sudden he sounded off. The same spot that he had been all morning long. And those now 3 hens led the old longbeard right towards me. Only this time, it was to the safety of the trees just beyond the decoys. Unfortunately, from there, they turned away from me and headed for the wall of green at my 12. The gobbler did give me a split-second broadside shot. Boom! 5 or 6 feet into the air he went, and by the time he hit the ground, we were both off to the races. But he won. Yeah, I apparently must have just shot right over top of him, but I'll tell you, what a hunt. Looks good, Toots. Alright. Okay, then we can bring that chestnut tree over. We've got a few scattered out here. There's one over here in the corner. We put that one in the ground last year. There's another one on the back side. So we're going to put one here. I think this will be a good spot. We're about 30 feet from that one, about 40, maybe 45 feet from that one. So that's pretty good with the spacing. So I think, Addie, I think you got that hole a little deep. Let's put this one in here and we'll see how deep this is, bud. Looks to be about a foot too deep. Maybe 6 inches. Alright, so we could bring out some of that Miracle Grow. This is what we've got, but I think this will be okay. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of dirt in there. We might be here a while. Alright, come on. That's a good trouble. All you have to do. Alright, trouble. Okay, let's try this one again. Chief. Welcome.
This is called the stomper. cut this one.
Come on, little buddy.
Once you set that tree in the ground, you compact it with the dirt, you still got air pockets in and around those roots. And the roots are critical. I mean, you dry those roots out, you're losing the tree. So once it's in the ground, you want to put a good 5 gallons of water on it to really push that soil and compact it. Make sure everything's good. See all those air bubbles coming up out of there? That's what you want. You want to make sure all that air that's in that soil compacted around them roots is gone.